Good morning, happy Thursday. Welcome to Guided Read for today. I was actually a bit sad about this lesson because I sort of had imagined something else was going to happen in the classroom that wouldn't really be possible on Zoom. We were going to do some highlighting and some kind of cutting and sticking, Mr. Baish's favourite, obviously, and moving things around. But obviously we couldn't do that on Zoom. So I've kind of repurposed this lesson, but I actually think it might be better than what we were going to do with just less scissors. So let's see what we are up to today. Okay, so guided read for Thursday, obviously back to Skunk and Badger based on this. Okay. So let me move myself up there. Okay, so today we're focusing on author word choice. This is a bit like the lesson we did on the Mars rover where we blanked out some of the words and replaced them with others. So authors are actually very, very clever. And when they're writing, they choose their words very carefully to convey or give a certain meaning. So they don't just like randomly write and think, oh, that will do. They really think about the word choices they're using really carefully. So we're going to investigate how this works from page 12 of Skunk and Badger, if you happen to have bought your own copy and be reading along. And actually, this is going to feed really nicely into our writing for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be writing eventually a setting description after we're done with poetry, where we'll need to consider our own word choices really carefully. So this is good because it's going to give us some practice in that. I have to keep moving myself today. Where am I going to go here? Let me go here. Right, okay. So we're going to consider one together. So the opening sentence from chapter 2 is, consider yourself my special guest. So this is the things that I want you to just look at and just jot down. So what does the word special mean? Why do you think the author has chosen the word special? And what image does it give? So what image is the author trying to convey? So is Skunk really a special guest for Badger? What does Badger really think? And what's the effect of using that exclamation mark on the end? Because authors don't just use word choices, they use punctuation choices as well. So what does an exclamation mark actually do to that sentence? And what other punctuation could have been used instead? So pause here, jot down your ideas, and then we'll move on. Obviously, if you're really stuck, you can use thesaurus.com to look up the word special, and that will help you. Okay, pause. And then here are some answers. So this is what I thought. I'm not sure how well you can see this read. It does look a bit weird on my screen, so hopefully it looks okay on yours. So consider yourself my special guest. So special, I thought, meant having worth to someone. Not obviously everyone in the world is very special to me. You are all very special to me because you happen to be in my class. So I have that kind of particular connection to you. So it means it's particular or it's valued. So if someone's really special to me, I really value them. Why has the author chosen the word special? So it may mean that the skunk has a special meaning to Badger and that he is important. But the Badger is lying, as we know. We've talked about this before. I don't actually think the Badger is a very nice character. I think he's a bit sneaky. So Badger was lying and he's kind of been a bit fake. He's actually really sneaky. He's just kind of trying to get rid of Skunk as quickly as possible. And the exclamation mark shows the way Badger is saying it, because obviously, like, unless it's in an audio version of the book, you can't hear it. So the exclamation mark shows that he's saying it in a kind of like really over the top way, maybe kind of loudly. They could have used a question mark if Badger wasn't really sure if he was saying, consider yourself my special guest, or an ordinary full stop obviously would have been, consider yourself my special guest. So it tells us as a reader how we should say that sentence in our heads. Okay. So we're going to try one together. So how does the author choice change the meaning? So consider yourself my something guest. So try to think of 3 other words the author could have used instead. So we want one that's a synonym that means the same as special. We want one that's an antonym, which means the opposite of special, and another word of your choice, any word at all that makes sense. So consider yourself my esteemed guest, consider yourself my valued guest, something like that. So pause. and then we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do now. So let's put me down there. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing using 3 sentences from page 12 of the book. So the first word we're going to look at is red. So the first sentence is, Badger plucked the red suitcase from Skunk's grasp. So obviously if you've got access to a printer, you can just print this out. Otherwise, you can just draw it out. So you're going to put one synonym in there that means the same as red, one antonym in there, so something that means something different, opposite to red. So try and have a think about what the opposite of red is. And then any word of your choice that could go in there. You do the same for squinted. So squinted means to screw up your eyes like this, like really small. So Skunk squinted into the closet, and that's normally when we can't see something very well or it's a bit dark. So if we imagine the closet's really dark, the closet's like an American word for a cupboard, it's really dark. And then fluorescent, so the bulb hummed fluorescently. Fluorescent is like really, really bright. You know when sometimes you get the strip lights, you know, like the ones in year 6? That used to be like the bane of my life when they used to flicker because it would be horrible. So like a strip light or fluorescent means really bright. So fill that in that table, pause here, and then I've got some of my own ideas that I'm going to show you next. Okay, so this is what I managed to come up with. So for red, I looked at some different words for the word red. So coral means like more of a like a reddy pinky colour. Crimson is a bright red, maroon's a dark red, kind of a bit like this kind of colour here. And then maybe rosy red, just to hyphenate it up a bit. Antonym, I just picked any other colour that wasn't red, so blue, purple, black. Word of my choice, I thought about like maybe the suitcase being really, really old, so like battered or ancient, maybe even the opposite, brand new, maybe even a bit smelly because he's a skunk. Squinted, synonyms, peeked, looked, squinched. I learned that word today. Apparently it is a real word from thesaurus.com. I thought about the opposite of really closing your eyes up to be opening them. So kind of like really staring like this or really glaring. And then I just looked at some others that I quite like glance, glimpse, blinked. Fluorescently, I thought about the word bright, so like brightly, luminously, sunnily, I quite liked, so that was quite nice. Antonym-wise, I thought about the opposite of bright being dark or dull, but I also thought about this idea of fluorescent being like really bright, really joyous, really sunny, so I thought it might be a bit unhappy. So if something's dark or dull, it's a bit unhappy. And then I put in just some other kind of random ones, like the noisily. I was thinking about the strip lights being really noisy, like they were in year 6. So I just added that in to just like change it completely. Joyously, so like it was really bright and nice, or unclouded, meaning it was bright, you could see. So I hope you've had some success with that today. We'd love to see them. Please email them in year5@millbrook.valeacademy.org, and I will see you for our next guided read tomorrow.